While you were over there, Stanley Tookie Williams
Yes.
was an inmate. Now, Tookie was the founder of the Crips, and he was in there on 4 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances and 2 counts of robbery. So in 1979, allegedly, Tookie and his accomplices robbed a 7-Eleven store. He took the clerk back, a 24-year-old Albert Owens, to a back room, made him kneel, and shot him twice in the back with a shotgun. There was also the murders of the Yang family. They say that in 1979, that Tookie broke into a motel in L.A. and murdered 3 members of an immigrant family from Taiwan who owned the motel. A 67-year-old, a 63-year-old, and a 43-year-old daughter. What was your relationship with Tookie?
Tookie Williams, he was originally, when I first started in the adjustment center, I eventually got a job in the adjustment center, which was a housing unit that held all the problem inmates in the other ad-seg units. So most of San Quentin at the time, they were administrative segregation units or SHU units. They never came out of their cells unless they were handcuffed. They got escorted to showers and stuff, including death row.
Right.
If they assaulted staff or had problems with other inmates on their yard, they would get in trouble and they'd be sent to the adjustment center. In the adjustment center, you kind of got handpicked to work. I ran across a lieutenant at the gym who liked me and asked if I wanted a job in there. Of course I did. You're really somebody if you work the adjustment center. At least that's what I thought. So I'm working the adjustment center, and I had heard that Tookie Williams assaulted an officer in death row.
What was the situation about?
They got in some kind of argument where, and this is coming from Tookie, who told me, the officer was pushing him around and wanted him to wear 1 set of handcuffs. Tookie Williams was gigantic, probably one of the biggest guys I've seen. Not super tall, but just huge. And so you'd always double handcuff him. You'd put 2 sets of handcuffs on him. You'd hook the handcuffs together because his arms wouldn't reach all the way
that's
behind
what you
him.
mean. So you could extend the length of the handcuffs.
Right, so to extend it. Well, the officer's telling him, no, you're going to listen to me. I don't listen to inmates. And Tookie's trying to explain to him, hey, you need to put 2 handcuffs on me. And I don't know if he was going to yard or going to the shower or what. I don't remember that part. But Tookie said the officer kept telling him, no, you listen to me. I'm the officer. And it was a newer officer. And Tookie says, okay, I'm fine. In his mind, he's just going to go wherever he's going to go. It's 1 incident, no big deal, and go on about his day. So he gets his hands back there. They handcuff him. He backs out of the cell, and now the officer starts pushing him and talking crap to him, talking shit to him. And Tookie just had enough, and so he snapped the handcuffs and
broke the handcuffs.
He broke the handcuffs.
Okay.
Turned and looked at the officer, and said, "What do you want to do?" I'm sorry, he was going to yard because it was in an area where the gunman couldn't see him. And he said, you know what, Monahan, that officer, when he works overtime in this unit, he won't even talk to me. He won't even say nothing to me. And so that happened. They brought him to the adjustment center, and he was on our first floor in the adjustment center for the remainder of the time I worked there.
Okay, well, another inmate that was there during your time was Tyquan Cox, a.k.a. Lil Fee, who was also affiliated with the Crips. So he was actually there for mass murder. He was sentenced to death in 1984 for the murders of various family members of NFL player Kermit Alexander. So basically what happened was him and another suspect burst into this person's home. They opened fire, killing 4 people in the process. And this was the house of Ebra Alexander, who's the mother. As it so happens, they were actually at the wrong house.
Right.
It was 2 doors down.
Yep.
So he gets put in death row along with Tookie Williams. And according to reports, I guess Tookie told him to stab another inmate because Tookie thought that was an informant. And when he refused, Cox actually stabbed Tookie.
Yes.
What was this story about?
Just what you had said. That was the rumors. Most of that stuff I had never read, but all the officers would talk about it, and that was the rumors, was that Tookie wanted him to stab somebody else, and he didn't want to, and they got in a big beef over it. And when Tyquan Cox had the chance, he stabbed Tookie. And then and Tyquan Cox then came to the adjustment center after that, before Tookie ever got there. And it was ordered from Tookie that whoever can kill Tyquan Cox, that he wanted that done.
How bad was the stabbing on Tookie?
This guy was so big, it probably didn't do much. Yeah, I never saw it. I didn't see the medical exam or nothing like that. And then Tyquan Cox had to go to the yard all by himself from that point on.
Well, if they're both on death row, what are they doing on the yard?
They have closed-in yards about the size of this room.
Okay, it's a bunch of death row people?
Yeah, and they get segregated by gang affiliation or by race.
Okay, does that still happen to this day?
I've heard it's changed, and that they let everybody kind of mingle with everybody now, except for those units, and they'll put them in, they call them cages. It's not a big yard anymore. It's like a
right,
cage.
And they just put them outside in a cage,
Correct.
basically. So you can be outside, but you can't actually touch anybody.
Right.
Okay, because it would seem a little crazy to put a whole bunch of death row inmates in a room together and hope for the best.
Right. Now, they would segregate them, that one gang goes to one yard, another gang goes to another yard, so they all would get along for the most part. At least that was the idea of it.
Okay, so now Lil Fee, Tyquan Cox, is now back on a yard with a target on his head.
Correct.
And what happens?
We basically, the correctional officers and the guards, whatever you want to call them, had to protect him.
Really?
Yeah.
But he's doing life in prison. I mean, he actually has the death penalty, but he's doing life.
Right. And so he was in the adjustment center, and he could go to medical visits, and he'd go to the yard by himself. They called it a walk-alone yard. And so he would go out there for a few hours.
Oh, by himself, meaning there's no one else around.
No one else around.
Oh, so he can't be around anyone else for the rest of his life, basically?
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. And back then, the adjustment center had three yards, and he would be in one yard by himself on the opposite day that the Crips would be out there.
Okay. Now, Tookie always maintained his innocence so
Right.
that he didn't kill anybody. And during the course of being locked up, he started writing books. And because of these books and a bunch of anti-gang work that he did, he got nominated 5 times for the Nobel Peace Prize and nominated 1 time for the Nobel Prize in Literature.
Right.
Which is crazy. Have you heard of anyone else getting nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in prison?
No, I actually haven't, no.
5 times he was nominated.
Right.
Were you there during these nominations?
No, I had left by then. I left there in 92.
Okay, so that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was executed after you left.
Yes.
I had heard that they broke like multiple needles trying to get the needle in his arm.
Oh, I'd believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe it.
Okay, and a lot of people spoke out because what they're basically arguing for is, well, is this person rehabilitated?
Right.
Yes, he did this, horrible set of acts, but he's nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, which is one of the highest, which is probably the biggest peace prize you could get in the world of all time.
Right.
Do you feel that they should have stayed his execution?
No, I think he should have still been executed for what he did. That's just but that's my personal belief. He was he was very respectful. He never gave us a hard time. As long as you didn't disrespect him, he was fine. He knew he was in there for a long time, and he just wanted to do his time. I don't think writing a book is going to take away what he had done or what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.